Good morning. Nope, that's not true. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay. Hi, everyone is in bed, which is a really good thing. Love when they're all in bed. Hi, Jessica. I love when they're all in bed. Had kind of an interesting night. Hi, Megan. Hi, Bridget. I have a really fun topic tonight. Really fun, really hopeful that I want to talk about. I'm trying to think if I have any updates first. I am heading tomorrow. I am flying out to Denver tomorrow. I leave at around 2. I have a keynote tomorrow or on Saturday morning. I'm really excited about it. My day was better. Thank you. My day was better. I had a tough night last night. I have a sick kiddo. And I don't know if any of you have kids who are, I hate to use the word like sickly, but it's just the way that I would describe Harbor, where everyone, and it's hard for him to be in school, and it's hard for him to have, like, to be part of a group or a club, because he gets these terrible coughs and he can't stop, and he'll actually cough so much that he throws up. And it's been like this every fall, winter since he's been born. And my heart just breaks for him because he's like an active kid. Hi, Holly, welcome. He's just busy and it slows him down. So last night he went to bed about 6:30. He went to bed. I feel so bad. I was talking to a lady tonight hey Sherry. I was talking to a lady at this ice cream social that I went to. And sorry, I got distracted there. I was reading something. Hey, Teresa. So, I was at this ice cream social tonight and I was talking to this lady and I was saying, if like a cold comes into our house, like, sniffy nose or whatever it may be, it always knocks him out. And so the rest of us can just carry on. It just shows him. We did allergy testing for Harbor. We did the ones where they do the thing on the back, which is so fascinating to me. And they found out he had one allergy. He is allergic to wet leaves in the spring and the fall. So they said having a window open at night is really bad for him. That was very interesting. Very interesting. What else did I want to tell you? There were some other things that I wanted to share with you. I have a big announcement. It's probably my first ever big announcement ever in my whole entire life. Coming on Sunday night with Adrian and Carrie. And our big announcement will be around 8 p.m. Central. But subscribers, we are going to hop on early about 7:30 p.m. And you're going to want to be on the live at 7:30 p.m. So mark your calendar. Put a little sticky note. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited. I don't have a lot to be excited about right now. I'm really excited for Sunday night. Can't wait. We do everything, Melissa, for Harbor. Harbor has nebulizers and inhalers, and he lives in a bubble. We put him in a bubble. we give him his own air. So it would be 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. I wonder if your book is in Books A Million. Brooks, if it's not in Books A Million, you can just ask and they'll order it, which is awesome. I didn't know that before I wrote a book. I'm not telling you the secret, Erin. No. Nope. So 6:30. Now you got me all mixed up. 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. And then big announcement to everybody at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you would like to know early and get the little bonus, join my subscriber group. It's going to be worth it. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, now you're getting me all confused. Stop it. Stop with the time zones. Bridget. I spoke in North Dakota, and did you know that North Dakota has 2 time zones? And so I flew in to one time zone, and I drove to another time zone. And that is very confusing. It's also very confusing when you have people on the East Coast and the West Coast that you're talking to. Also very confusing. Time zones. Oh, I did not know Florida has 2 time zones. I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about small, big things. And so I know most of you know me, but for context, my son Cooper is 13. Hey, Barb. He has a diagnosis of severe nonverbal autism. And I had someone email me the other day and tell me to stop using the term severe because there's other kids that are way more worse than him. And I didn't take offense to it. I actually took it as a compliment for Cooper because that's awesome. If someone thinks that's awesome that they think that. Cooper does check all the boxes for profound. He, and people always ask me like, oh, I'll like hematoma update. Okay, I will. A lot of people ask, why is he severe? Why is he profound? And I always say, it's not a competition. Hey, Danny, not a competition. But what I was told is, there's different boxes that, and many individuals can check boxes in different areas, level 1, 2, and 3. But Cooper, he doesn't understand safety. He doesn't understand the danger in water or traffic, cars. Hey, Amanda. He doesn't understand knives or I think he does understand hot, but that for fire, but that doesn't mean he won't touch it. He doesn't have any self-care, none, which is actually going to be part of the things that I'm going to talk about. He, we prepare all his food, we prepare his meds. He doesn't understand time or money, any of those bigger textual things. I get asked this all the time. This necklace is from my kids. Oh, it's like this. It's from a little store called Patina, and it's I'm going to hold it up. I get asked this a lot because I don't take it off, and it means pillar of strength. It's very simple. And I have not taken it off since I got it. It really means a lot to me. It was just very sweet that my family got this for me. What else about Cooper? Cooper is an 8th grader. School is going well so far. He is in a self-contained autism program at a public school. I worry every single day. He has an amazing team. Amazing. And I was actually humbled the other day, and I love being humbled. I love when I am wrong. I think there's a lot of areas where it's lovely to be wrong. So in my new book, I have a sentence that says, I often feel like an imposter as I walk the halls of my son's school with posters on the walls of kids that don't look like him and clubs and sports that he'll never be a part of. And I wonder if anyone knows his name. So I wrote that years ago, and it's in my book right now. That's coming out in April. And my son's friend's mom, and she's my friend too, she sent me, and she works at the school, and she sent me a picture the other day, and she goes, "Did you know that our kids are on the wall of the school office?" And I was like, "No, because I don't go to school." And she sent me this picture, and there's like this giant 8x10 of Cooper and his two best friends, Peyton and Dexter. And it's like right when you walk in, and I was driving to Moon Beach, and a camp, and I pulled over and started crying right on the side of the road. I probably wasn't even safe, and I just cried. And then when I pulled myself together and got to camp, I emailed the principal, and I said, "Thank you." And I said, "Can you pass along a thank you to whoever printed that picture out and bought a frame and hung it up?" I said, because I have never been so happy to be wrong. I mean, wrong with my quote and my feelings. And I actually told him, we've had a lot of bad things happen to us, hard things in the educational journey. And that happens when you have a child who's challenging. And this healed something that is broken in me. And I just thanked him. I was just like, so, I don't know, like so thankful. And I don't know who printed it out, but if I know and find out, I'm going to hug them. He didn't tell me when he responded, but I would hug them because I was just so honored. What else? Cooper, I'm trying to think of some of the things about him. You know, whenever I meet new people that have children with autism, I always say, "Tell me about your child. What are their strengths and what are their struggles?" I think it really helps me understand. Cooper is a really happy person. Hey Nicole, he loves being silly. He loves his family. Right now, he carries around a whiteboard everywhere he goes, and he has us write things on it. And then he has us repeat it. Right now, he has pretty low anxiety, so I only have to repeat it a few times. If he's in an anxiety spike, I'll have to repeat those things 500 times a day. But right now, we're in a good spot. And it says, people, friends, family. And he showed that to me this morning. People, friends, family. And I said, "Do you want the people and the friends and the family to come here?" And he's like, "Yes." He loves people. He loves a party at our house. When we have a party, so Minnesota friends, we're going to do another Cooper Christmas party. His birthday's in December. And usually Santa stops by. And he just watches everyone come up the driveway, and he signs more people. He'll sign it forever. He wants the house full. And I'll tell you, that's a stark change from when he was younger. He used to hide. He used to hide when people came over. It was terrifying for him. He was so scared. And something switched in him. And, you know, I always feather in my worries. Sawyer or Cooper has 3 siblings. Our house is loud all the time. And I am terrified when his siblings all leave. I think it's going to be really, really sad for him. Not to get into that, but I think it is. I think he thinks mom and dad are boring, as most kids do, most teenagers. What else about him? So other strengths. We don't have a lot of challenges right now with aggression or self-injuring behavior, so that's great. Some of his struggles, it's really hard for Cooper. This is the way I describe him when I give presentations. It's really hard for him to transition to new spaces. And it doesn't really even matter what the space is, whether I'm just going to, I'll just list some. Sorry, my back itches. Whether it's a park, a bowling alley, a friend's house. It doesn't matter. A zoo. I could just keep listing. When we are outside of our home, he doesn't know what to do with himself. So let's say we're walking up to a zoo and there's a line. We're at Target and we're walking up to the register and there's people in line. The second he sees that line, he gets incredibly anxious, and waiting is just nearly impossible for him. We're working on it. We're working really hard on it. But that's probably the one area where we haven't seen much growth, is in waiting. And just think of the world we live in. No matter where you go, you have to wait. Waiting's life. That is the one area I just pray that we can have growth in, because when I think of the future, I want him to go to Sawyer's graduation, and I want him to be in Sawyer's wedding, and I want him to go on an airplane, and I want him to go to Disney, and that's the spot that I'm real nervous about. Have you noticed Cooper is acting more grown up, like the way he sits in his personality? The other night I did a video and he was sitting like a grown up, and that was cracking me up. But I don't know. I would say, and this came up at the retreat this weekend, I would say the biggest change that I've seen in my son. Hi, Anna. I would say what the biggest change that I have seen in Cooper, the most monumental of all of them, is his willingness to try. And the way I describe it is he's just more agreeable, if that makes sense. So like, let's say he has to, I'm making this up. Let's say he has to have a new med. Let's say he has to have an antibiotic. Where for the first 10 years of his life, it was like running, screaming, meltdown, not going to happen. Now I could be like, do you want to go on the Amtrak? And he'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, well, you really got to take your medicine. And he'll be like, poop. Like that's his willingness to try, to be motivated, to be encouraged, to be rewarded. I would say for the first 8 years of Cooper's life, there was no reward that would have been enough to get him to try. And so that's why, therapy is really hard for him, because a lot of therapies are reward driven or incentive driven, whatever word. But like, if you do this, we'll do this preferred activity, or if you do this, we'll give you a Skittle, or if you do this, we'll go outside, whatever. There was nothing. Cooper was like, ain't gonna happen. And I mean, when you have a child that refuses, there's no forcing. Oh, hard. Now, he's more willing to try. So, and that happened around age 10. Just so you know, if for parents that have younger kids, age 10 was a big turning point for Coops. So, there's this saying that I put in the caption, small, big things. And my friend Carrie Cariello and my friend Jason Haig, who is, they're both amazing authors, but Jason Haig has a book called Aching Joy. Two very good friends of mine. And we used to talk about small, big things. And so here's what I will tell you. When Cooper was diagnosed with autism and the future came into focus. And I remember thinking, we can never be fine if he doesn't talk. We'll never be fine. Life will never be okay. Like the big things, like, if he doesn't play a sport, or if he doesn't drive a car, or, you think of the big things. I was like, that's what matters, is the big things. That's what is going to make life good. I was first time mom. I found out my first child had this significant disability, and it broke me. I don't shy away from that conversation. So time goes on, and you settle in, and you figure out your new normal, and you find joy in this differently abled life, and suddenly life's okay, and you're good. I will tell you, it's the small things, hey Pam, that make the biggest difference. So what do I mean by the small things? Your child learning to put their shoes on, getting their own drink, opening their own snack. Cooper asked me for a bath, and he normally doesn't take baths, but the last couple nights he's asked for a bath, and I can trust him to not flood the tub. He can get out of the tub by himself and dry himself off. Not perfectly, but he can still rock it. I mean, he can still dry off. He throws his juice, his Capri Sun in the garbage. He picks up his dishes and in the sink. He helps me with the groceries. And so when you think of your day, now think about growing older. So I'm 41, Cooper's 13. He's getting bigger. He's just nearly as tall. I'm 5'8", I think, on a good day. He's probably 5'4" or 5'5". And think of this, subtle transition into caregiver. And that's a whole nother video, but I'm a mom first. But a lot of the things that we do as parents really is caregiving. Dressing, bathing, brushing teeth, administering meds, all these things that, that change as our kids get older. Cooper's 13. If he did not have his disability, he'd be showering himself. I haven't showered Sawyer in years. He completely showers himself. He completely dresses himself. Comes down dressed for school, teeth brushed. He makes his own. He can make eggs. I mean, it is different, and it's okay to say that. It's okay to talk about differences in a realistic way. So when you think of yourself getting older, and I also have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, dressing someone that's the same size, or, hi, Emma from Detroit Lakes. Welcome. I'm so glad you enjoyed my book. Yay, I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Hi, Doris. Do I wish my son could talk every second of every day? Yes. But when I think of the things that make the biggest difference in our life, it's these small things that add up. It's him, being able to type. It's him being able to use the remote. It's him being able to pick up when he's done. It's just these little things. So, parents ask me all the time, what's your advice for newly diagnosed parents? And, what wisdom do you have? And I always feel like, none. I have no wisdom. I have survival skills. But in reality, we do have wisdom. And if I can give you, any little pieces of advice, pick some things to work on and to make life easier. One of mine, for the longest time, was I want Cooper to be able to get his own glass of water. We have the fridge with the ice in the water where you just push it in. It took forever. Think of all the steps to getting a glass of water. It's instinctual. You don't even think about it. You have to find the right cupboard. You have to open the cupboard door. You have to get a cup out without all the cups falling. You have to walk to the fridge or the sink. Sink would be turning it on. Fridge is pushing the cup in, stopping before it overflows. Think of all those steps. I know it doesn't seem like a lot to you, but it is so many. We had to break down each step. But I had this irrational fear that I would be alone with Cooper maybe for a night. Maybe everyone else went somewhere to a hockey tournament. And that something would happen to me. I'd have a heart attack. And he wouldn't be able to get food or drink. I know it sounds nuts, but as parents of kids with disabilities, we worry about everything. And that was one of mine. Let's validate that. It could happen. He would not know to go to the neighbor's house. He would not know to make a phone call. So I'm like, I have got to teach this kid to get a glass of water. And it took years, not months, friends, years. He can now get his own cup. He can get his own water. And I'll tell you, he still asks me to do it. And if you're here, if I'm doing a supporter live, or if, I'll be like, Cooper can get his own water. You don't need me to get your water. And he'll go, ha, 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 ha. And then he'll go get it. He can get snacks. But think of these little things, Mom and Dad. Think of, we're growing older. Do we want to bend down and help a man put their shoes on? That's one of the reasons why we do Kiziks. I talk about Kiziks a lot on Instagram. They're the shoe that you can put on without your hands. It's hands-free. So now when we're heading out the door and my hands are full and I have my coffee and I have my water bottle and I have Winnie and I have Harbor, I used to have to stop, set everything down, and put his shoes on for him. I don't have to anymore. Think about like carrying your backpack, putting your coat away. That's one that we don't have yet. We don't have that one yet. But like, what are the things that can really help you out as a parent? Yeah. Harbor's doing okay. Harbor's doing better. He had some steroid. He had a steroid yesterday at the doctor, so he's doing much better. When I think of goals for Cooper, so when I think of like my biggest dream, do you guys know what it is? And it's not talking. Do you know what I'm going to just like I know there's a delay. So what do you think my biggest goal is for Cooper? Think of home life, not traveling, because traveling is a big goal of mine. Going to brothers' hockey games is a big goal, and restaurants. Oh, is it Lainey? Lainey, you should come join my supporter group. Come join. It's such a great group. Bridget, Cooper can put his socks on, but they're usually upside down or crooked or bunched. Socks are a big challenge for a lot of individuals with like hand dexterity challenges. So like it takes two hands to put socks on. And it's very hard for him, but he will put his own socks on, but they're usually upside down. Someone just got it. Bridget just got it. My biggest, and so just for context, Bridget's son is twins with Cooper. They're brothers from a different mother. They're very similar. And so I can't even imagine if we could get to the point where Cooper could live or be alone at home. It would be monumental. So I just want to share, like, because I think sometimes we forget. So I have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. Sawyer can stay home alone. I mean, not for long periods of time, but for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. He's has a cell phone. He's 100% trustworthy. He's able. He can stay in the car alone if I have to run into the store. Hey, Dana. Cooper cannot. He can't yet. And so in so many ways, it's like having a much younger child because, one of our biggest challenges is daycare pickup. Socks can be upside down. You have the heel. So imagine the heel on the top of the foot and it gets all bunchy. But like one of our biggest challenges to date is if my husband's gone or I'm gone and one of us is home with the kids and we have to pick up our littlest one from daycare, Cooper cannot stay in the car alone. And it's really hard to bring him in somewhere fast. He doesn't do anything fast. So like you would never just run in somewhere. It's like, oh, we're here for the long haul. And trying to get him out of there is meltdown city. So that's like one of our biggest challenges. And just think like a neurotypical 13-year-old would be able to stay in the car alone. So my dream is that he could be here. I mean, I couldn't even imagine overnight. Don't even get me started on overnight. I mean, that is like Everest. But like if I could go for a walk. Claire Park, you totally understand. I have Cooper all summer because I work from home and I can't go for walks. And I feel very isolated and I get a little anxious. Gina Ann, I do have a support group. If you look at the pinned message, you can join. So what would he need to be able to do to make that happen? He would need to understand danger. He would need to understand that we don't open the door for anybody. He would need to understand that we don't go outside. We don't touch knives and we don't turn the oven on. Not that he ever would, but who knows? He would need to understand what to do if a fire alarm went off, a smoke alarm. He would have no idea. And he would need to be able to call us. Okay, so I think we can get to that. Yes. But like, let's just say, and more often than not, Sawyer's at sports. So more often than not, Sawyer's at baseball or football or hockey. Yes, but Sawyer's very responsible. Cooper's great with Sawyer. I think we'll get to that. I think we will definitely get to the point where Sawyer could stay with Cooper, which, there's 0.01% of me is like, he's 2 years younger. How did this happen? I get sad. But then I'm like, so amazing that he can help with his older brother. Yeah. But that would be our biggest goal. I just don't know if that's why we can't leave him in the car alone. For starters, I don't know if he would get out. That would be terrifying. But let's just say we left him in the car for 5 minutes while we ran into the store. And let's just say someone came and knocked on the window. Say the lights were on or the horn was going off. I don't even know. Or move your car, knocked on the window. He would not know what to do. So I have a story in my book that's coming out April 1st, and I'll share it with you. This happened 2 summers ago. And this is a perfect example. This is like a perfect example of what I was talking about. Our whole family was camping at a campground with my husband's family. And our sweet Sawyer, we had him pack his own bag, responsibility. He was there for 6 days, and he packed like 1 swimsuit, 9 shirts, and a pair of shorts. He had no underwear. He had nothing. He didn't have a sweatshirt. He didn't have pants. That's Sawyer. It is what it is. So I took our 2 little kids and went to Target. And I'll tell you, I'll never pass up a trip to Target. So I was totally fine. But it was like a 30-minute drive to go. So I left Cooper with his dad. Jamie's very responsible. Jamie was chatting and Cooper ran over to Grandma and Grandpa's cabin or camper. And there's this saying about having kids. This is just a saying, like when you're watching kids in a pool, everyone's watching the kids until no one's watching the kids. It's a kind of a common saying. That's what happened. Jamie thought Grandma was watching Cooper. Grandma thought Grandpa was watching Cooper, and they were all talking and socializing. And so I was gone. And so when I get back, my husband said to me, like, I know he was like, I was going to say shit and bricks, but I don't like to swear. And, but he was like white as a ghost. And he came up to me and he's like, so we lost Cooper. And I was like, if you would have had a camera on me, it was like, what? Like, what do you mean you lost Cooper? And I could see him, so I knew he was safe. And he's like, well, I was watching him, and then my mom was, and then my dad was, and then all of a sudden he was gone. And I go, did you check the water? And he goes, yes. So it was a campground with like 4 layers of campers, and then the beach, the whole side's a beach. And so he goes, I ran, Kate. I ran as fast as I could. And he goes, right as I walked up, I could hear a man going, what the F are you doing here? What are you doing on my boat? Get off my boat. And he goes, my stomach dropped, and I knew. And so he's like, by the time I got there, Cooper was sitting on a man's boat, like a pontoon, watching his iPad, like dancing to Barney, happy as can be. And this man was like standing over him, like yelling at him, get off my boat. And Jamie's like, no, he has autism, stop, and like, the thing is that while Cooper's still little, he's a teen and he's going to be a man. And so a lot of the graces that are bestowed on toddlers are long gone. And so Jamie like talked to him and explained like he has autism, he's non-speaking. And Jamie said he could see the understanding and the compassion it come to his face. And so in the book, I tell the story, and it's like Cooper's autism is invisible until it's not. And so often we're all so busy in our lives that we just see a rude teenager or, a disrespectful teen, or he looks like every other kid, until you look. And you see his hands, flicking before his face, and you see flapping, and you hear Barney and Elmo coming from his Kindle. His autism isn't invisible until it's not. And so it ended fine. It ended great. The man was super nice and apologized, and I lost my SHIT on the world because he could have drowned. He could have been hit by a car. Like it was an accident, 100%. But it's like, he walks head down. He doesn't look for cars. I'm still terrified about it. And so this is why parents like me are so hypervigilant, because we're scared. And that's why I can't leave him in a car and I can't leave him home alone. So when I think about my small, big things, like what is like, yes, Dane don't get autism. You won't know. Well, I always say, Cooper's great. Everything usually goes great until it doesn't. And every mom or dad or whoever of autism knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's great until it's not, and then it's game over. We went to the zoo the other day. It was actually it was called Dream Night. It was for kids with disabilities and their families. And Sawyer actually said, he's like, it's going to go good until it's not. And I was like, yes, I do. I do know that. But I'm happy to tell you it was perfect the whole time. So, but it's just a saying, it's good until it's not. The way I describe it, it's a lot like having a younger child who is exhausted, and it game over. We're done. Yeah. So I'm going to give you homework. You don't have to do it, but just think of, if you're a parent of a kid where you need to practice things and work on things. I've always had 2 or 3 goals for Cooper all the time. Like, I don't share them. I don't think them, but we're always, in the day-to-day, we're always working on them. And it's like, what skills do we need to utilize? What do we need to practice to help achieve those goals? And we're always, how do we get to Sawyer's games? How do we do this? And So here's an example. One of the things that I do with Cooper all the time is when he asks me for something, I'm like, 1 second, you know, and I will tell you, for a lot of years, he would just scream. He would just scream at me. And now, if we're home, he will wait for a period of time. It's awesome. It's amazing. But it took a lot of practice and a lot of patience. And the thing I always say with autism is you have to teach everything. And that list can feel really daunting when you're a mom or a dad. It feels really daunting. So, okay, I am going to get ready for bed. I have not been sleeping good at all, and I'm so tired. So I'm going to head to bed. Again, if you're a supporter or if you want to be on my supporter page, I do lots of videos. Me, Carrie, and Adrian, or Carrie, Adrian, and I are making a big announcement on Sunday night. And if you are part of my supporter group, you will get an early access and a little extra bonus as well. So, and I put that link, I pinned it. So, okay. Goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here.